This is MJ. I live in Tokusatsu, and right now I want to talk about Kamen Rider 01, episode 23. I'm titling this episode Off the Rails, or this review, whatever, Off the Rails, because I really feel like the show has gotten off the rails. There was no mention, really. I mean, there was a slight mention of the contest that's going on between Hedon and Zaya, but it's not clear that this matchmaker service is part of that. So this is just a detour, I guess. So this will be a 12 episode arc then. I don't know. Things seem so strange. I had to look into who worked on it, and it was written by Minato Takano, and the director was Satoshi Morota, which I think is fine. Anyway, Minato Takano from the Kamen Rider Wikia is a writer who worked on materials that attached to Kamen Rider Ex-Aid and Kamen Rider 01. Ex-Aid, of course, and 01 are both written by one Yuya Takahashi. And there is a filmography here for Minato Takano. Kamen Rider Heisei Generations Dr. Pac-Man vs. Ex-Aid Ghost with Legend Riders, supervised by Yuya Takahashi. And then Kamen Rider Ex-Aid Tricks, Kamen Rider Genom, supervised by Yuya Takahashi. Part 1, Legend Rider, Part 1, Legend Rider Stage, Part 2, Legend Gamer Stage, and Part 3, Final Legend Stage. I kind of think that Tricks thing is the thing that, it's the little short story that preceded Genom being resurrected, freed from his prison, and able to run amok, which led to the trilogy of movies, including the Genom movie, which was pretty great. He also wrote Kamen Rider Brave, Let's Survive, Revival of the Beast Rider Squad, supervised by Yu Takahashi, as well as Kamen Rider Snipe Episode 0, which is 4 parts: Trigger of Destiny, Comrade, Barrel, Broken Safety, Immortal Reload. It's funny, those are all gun names. And then Kamen Rider Ex-Aid Tricks, Kamen Rider Laser. I don't know what the Tricks part is, but it's in quotes, so maybe it's, like Tyson, something like that, subtitle for it. And then there's Project Thouser, which is going to be coming out on the Blu-rays for this show, for Kamen Rider 01. So that's all about the secret history of Thouser and what he did and what he's been doing in the background and, what makes him tick, basically. So some of those were good. Some of them were just okay. But I think all of them were kind of weird. Although I did hear the Snipe series is actually pretty good. Sono and Ayla from the Uncommon Cast RX, I think, sing the praises of those movies. Or specials. I don't know what you call them. So I'm throwing the phrase off the rails at this episode, and that doesn't mean I hated it. I liked it, but it was very weird. It felt more like a rom-com at times, and I don't like the tonal shifts are pretty dramatic. We have the Humagear match, basically cussing out this lady who's looking to be matchmaker for, like, in a church after their fake wedding, and then but it's like a rom-com because, like, her her childhood friend who's a little overweight and who he's always been in the friend zone and she's ignored all this time, he goes and he becomes a raid riser, and then because he does that and does all this stuff to risk himself, she falls in love with him. But the Humagear match had called her a super selfish person, but I don't know if that was just him trying to push her off and have her not be attracted to him, or if he really thinks she is a very selfish person. I mean, he did say that thing about her when he analyzed her earlier, saying that she only pays attention to the horoscopes or dating apps or whatever that say good things about her. So she's got this problem with confirmation bias, and she selectively pays attention to things. So she's not a good person. Yes, she was a victim in the previous episode. Turns out the guy that she was engaged to was he ended up being innocent, but still, she kind of was a victim in that situation. But just because she was a victim doesn't mean that she's not a bad person. You can be a victim and be a bad person too, I guess, is part of the message that comes across. I don't know if that was the intention. I couldn't tell what this guy was in his Raid Riser form. I thought it looked pretty cool, looked pretty unique. I think they got a stockier suit actor to match with the the face actor for Teru, which was nice. I like to see that. Kind of reminds me of a couple things. One, Go Ranger had a big guy. Voltron has a big guy in Beastar Strikers, which I reviewed on my comics channel a couple weeks ago. They've got a big guy on their team, and he's kind of self-conscious about how tight the uniform is on them. But anyway, getting back to this, there are elements to like, but then there are strange things that I don't like at all. I enjoyed the nuanced approach to I guess, the bad actors, the characters in this episode, because they can all be kind of bad. But then there's this, moment where the Humagear cusses the lady out to try to push her off and make sure that she's not interested in him anymore. And it was a really hilarious moment because he learned the word from what's her name, Izu, and Aruto was like, "Where did you learn that?" That was cute. Anyway, but then as he's being destroyed from Metal Hopper's, Mega Kick or his finishing move or whatever, he like kind of snaps back his senses, and he does a little salute, says "best match," because that's his thing. It's a little joke, I'm sure. And then he blows up with a heart over him, and it's great because Teru and Emmy, I believe is her name, are together and they're in love, and they're going to be a couple now. So I don't know, when he was slapped by her in the church after he cussed her out, and then she and called her selfish among other things, and then she slapped him, his headgear thing went red, so it looked like the arc was legitimately affecting him. But was that all just play acting? Because the whole marriage thing was supposed to be this ruse, and I don't know if somehow him becoming Zemetsu whatever guy was also supposed to be a ruse, because that really doesn't make any sense that he'd be able to fake that. Alright, enough of that. I'm going to go ahead and start complimenting the show, sort of, after I take a sip of coffee. So, Yaiba Yua finally gets to Henshin. It's been, and the last time she Henshin was when she fought Fua, when they were, I don't know, testing each other's ideals, or whatever it was. So it was nice to see her back in action, getting to transform. There was a weird moment, though, when Matsugai ended up coming to the matchmaker meeting as the match for Emmy, and she gave this whole little speech about him, and Aruto looked at her and said, "Did he write it for you?" And she just kind of seemed really irritated and like, "Yeah, he wrote it for me, and I have to read it because he's my boss, and I had to call him a great boss and say that all his employees love him," and whatever. So, like, I don't know. It's a very interesting character dynamic between the two of them. I'd really like to see her step out of his shadow, because I feel like she's been in his shadow, and I don't know that I want her to like become a villain or something, because she seems good overall, but I don't know, she's interesting because she's kind of utilitarian with her attitude towards like the Humagear and whatnot, and things that she's willing to do. I don't know, I didn't really get her character, but she sure gets to be cool. I mean, she's a great fighter. She fights just like the guys, except she doesn't fight as often as they do, but she's got a really cool couple of forms. And her using Lightning Hornet in this episode to do like a swarm on swarm attack with the the cluster hopper locust coming out was really cool. Or really, swarm of grasshoppers. They're not locusts; they're just grasshoppers in a swarm. So anyway, I don't know about the veracity of that, but Amatsugai says something about how grasshoppers have been known to swarm and then devour all this stuff, and then they end up like cannibalizing themselves. So I don't know, it's kind of interesting. It's the arc of Aruto being able to overcome the Arc satellite and its evil intentions. It seems pretty interesting. I like the fact that the key locks the power of 01, and he can only use the one key, the hyper metal cluster. That's a really neat idea. And with how bad he is when he's hyper metal cluster, how out of control he gets, attacking, Lightning Hornet, attacking Assault Wolf, all these things, he just completely loses control. Amatsugai is betting on Aruto's goodness to force him not to transform anymore. Like, it's still like a very convoluted plan, and I don't quite understand it. Honestly, it's kind of making me think of, telling Kylo Ren to kill Rey and then, being happy when she shows up not dead because you wanted her to come along all along. Like, I don't know. Is there a plot hole here? I'm not really sure. The action is effective and the drama is effective, and it kind of covers up those things and allows one to ignore them. But I'm not really sure how satisfied I am with this. And I feel like the writing, I don't know, is it sloppy or what? It's very hard to say. So this writer, whose name I can't remember now, Takano, something like that. Anyway, Takano. in those other credits he had on the Kamen Rider Wiki, it said that he was supervised by Yu Takahashi. Maybe Takahashi let him, fly solo on this episode, and that could be part of the reason why things are so weird. But this seems like a pretty pivotal episode, so I don't know why he would just kind of let him do whatever. I don't know. I enjoyed how menacing Metal Cluster Hopper was and is, and I think I meant to look at the suit actor. He's either Yuya something or Takahashi something, but it's not Seiji Takao anymore, and I think he's doing a great job. Him being vicious and like a cold, calculating, killing machine as Metal Cluster Hopper is really nice. Reminds me of Guyver. I wanted to make some joke about Out of Control, because if you ever watch the ADV or manga entertainment dub of Guyver, you get to hear Bloom spew, Steve Bloom say something like, Guyver means out of control, because, when the creators made this thing, it was completely out of control. And, the Guyver was anyway, I won't get into it. You should check out Guyver if you haven't already. But supposedly the Guyver, the word from that show and manga, which is inspired by Kamen Rider and other things, probably Ultraman, had, an alien suit or whatever that was living and went out of control. So what do you think is going to happen with this arc? Are they going to finish out the competition? Is Metal Cluster Hopper going to go too far and kill Matsu Guy, and then that'll like totally shift things in a different direction that nobody expected? Or, I don't know, like, what's going on? And I want to know, are you still enjoying it or not? Is this diversion or detour pleasing to you? It looks like the rest of the next episode could be just him being crazy, and then actually learning to gain control over, Metal Cluster Hopper. Anyway, I enjoyed Guy coming up to him and, Thouser trying to beat him, but he just couldn't because the armor was doing too good of a job protecting Aruto. That was a lot of fun. It was very pleasing to see him get slapped down a bit. MJ Loves Toku can be found on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher. Check out mjmunoz.com for my other review series and other writer cast, where I talk about all the first 2 episodes of every writer from Kuga to Zio. King of Hearts, Queen of Sorrows, where I talk about Mobile Fighter G Gundam, and Going Ultra, where I talk about Ultraman, and SS.Gridman, which is a, Ultraman spinoff. There's also Swinging Through Comics over there, where I talk about mostly Marvel comics, but I did talk about Skullman recently, and because I like Ishinomori so much, I will feature more Ishinomori stuff there as time goes on. I also have writing projects over there at mjmunoz.com. Love what I do? Want to support me? My Coffee and Redbubble accounts have you covered. Relevant links below. If you had a good time, like, share, and leave a comment. Subscribe and ring that bell to stay current on weekly 01 reviews. And remember, you don't have to shout henshin to be a hero.